Hi guys, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about fantastical libraries. I love libraries, both real world libraries to libraries in film and TV to libraries in books. I think all libraries are amazing. So to start off, you have Trinity Library in Ireland. I've not been to it, but it looks beautiful. To the Bodleian in Oxford, beautiful. There are so many beautiful real world libraries which are amazing, and wouldn't you just love to spend time, like hours sitting in them? And then the ones that you have in film that are just so amazing that you want to go visit as well. Like, yes, please. I would be so happy to live there permanently.
I've never seen so many books in all my life.
You like it?
It's wonderful.
And then there are books as well that contain magical libraries. And I don't know if this is like a genre, like a subgenre of fantasy, or just like a theme, or I don't quite know what to class this as, but if a book has a library of some kind in it, I am there. I'm ready. I'm reading that book because it calls to me. Books about books are just another level. I didn't think I liked it. I thought, oh no, that's just a bit cliche to write a book about a book. But actually, it's really good. So I have 5 books to recommend to you today that include the theme of a magical library. The first one being Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This book and this library are so magical. The topic of a magical library meshes really well with Erin Morgenstern's writing style. It just works. So in this book we're following our main character who is in his university library coincidentally and discovers a book which contains lots of short stories, and one of them is a story about himself. He then goes off on an adventure to seek out the people that created this book and try to understand how they've come up with a story about his life. And in doing so, he comes across this magical underground library, and he goes through it, and there's different rooms which you can find at different parts of the day, and there's this different tales that go on within the library of people that were there and people that visit it and the librarians, and you should so read it if you love magical libraries. The next book I would like to recommend, I haven't read it in a little while, so my memory of the plot might be a little bit foggy, but The Shadow of the Wind, or in Spanish La Sombra del Viento, which is written by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. And this book follows a young boy, and for his birthday his father has taken him to, I can't remember what it's called, but like the Labyrinth of Lost Books or something, and he gets to pick out a book. So he picks out this book called The Shadow of the Wind, and he reads it, loves it, and for the rest of his life he is trying to find the author to see if he's got any more books or if there's any more to the story. But as he comes to discover, people are burning this guy's books, and he's ended up with one of the only copies that is left in the world. It has some elements of a thriller, but it's also so very lyrical, and it's set in Barcelona. Again, if you like books about books, then it's a great one. Next book that I would like to recommend is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. So this book, you're following our main character, and she is brought up in a library, and libraries in this world are to contain magical stories. So if a book contains magic, then it gets classified in a different level, and then it is held in the library. So the ones that have limited capabilities, or like they're not too magical, then they can just be read by anyone. But if they're containing dark magic or they're slightly corrupted, then they need to be kept under lock and key, and they are a class as a dangerous book. And when I say dangerous book, it's not as though people are reading it and it's turning the person into something dangerous. These books can turn into monsters. Like, they're very volatile, and it's so fun reading about these books that have personalities. And it's so interesting thinking that a dark spell book, as well as being a dark text for someone that's reading it, is actually a dark the characteristics of that book are very dark. So you're following this character, and she is brought up in this library believing that magic is bad and magicians are evil creatures, but then following some circumstances where one of the books escapes, she ends up going on a trip with one of the magicians. My fourth recommendation will be The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackworth. This book follows our main character Claire, and she is the librarian for the Library of Unfinished Books. And as these books are not finished, they get sent to this library in hell, and she is tasked with maintaining this library. Now, as these books are not finished, the characters are wanting to escape and get back to their author, and try and persuade their author to continue the book. And some of these characters will come out, some will be weeping, some will be angry, and Claire's job is to try and put them back into the pages. And it starts off with one of the characters having escaped, and she's trying to track down this character before he causes any real damage in the real world. And then there's another plot that sort of intertwines, which is to do with the devil having written a book and the agents of heaven and hell claiming ownership of this book. I mean, it's such an interesting concept, thinking that there is a library in hell for books that are never finished. It sort of puts the pressure on an author to finish a book, because you don't want your book to end up there with all those characters that are just going sad on the shelves. On a similar theme, the fifth book I'd like to recommend is The Archive by V. Schwab. So in this book, similarly to The Library of the Unwritten, it follows a librarian who is tasked with guarding the souls of the dead. So in this library, instead of it being books, it is actually souls, and these souls cannot escape. Once they're in this library, that is their resting place, and that's where they go to die. But occasionally some souls wake up and they're restless, and her job is to put them back. So those are some 5 books that I have read, which include this theme of magical libraries. I have a couple that I have on my TBR, which I'm very interested in reading. I don't know very much about them because I've seen that they've included the topic of magical libraries, and that's enough, and I haven't looked at much else to do with the book, quite honestly. So the first one is The Invisible Library. I know it's a series, I think there's quite a few books in it, but all I know is that it's got a library in it. Secondly, The Library at Mount Char. All I know is that this one is a horror, and I suppose it's a bit weird, but that is all I know. Based on the books that I've recommended and the ones that I have on my TBR, let me know if there are any other books that you think I would really like with this theme of magical libraries, or if you think the ones on the TBR won't actually do it for me. Thank you for watching, and please like, comment and subscribe. Bye!